Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise, get right to the heart of things, and today we've got something really interesting to think about. Imagine a film, right? With all that energy, that raw blockbuster feel, but it's rooted completely in the human spirit, not, gods or myths. Well, there's an upcoming film that seems to promise exactly that, and maybe even more. We are setting our sights today on Daiva. It's a new Kannada film from director Manjunath Jairaj, slated for release late 2025, give or take. And our mission really is to figure out why this film's already got so much buzz. People are calling it a game changer, potentially redefining commercial cinema. We want to explore that. Its fresh approach, the visuals we're hearing about, and, well, the story's core.
Yeah, and it kicks off with this kind of puzzle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right in the title, Daiva. It translates to divine or spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But the filmmakers, they're being really clear. This isn't a mythological film, not at all. So, okay, if it's not about gods, not about legends, what is this divine thing they're actually talking about? How are they playing with that idea for us now? That's, I think, what we need to unpack first.
It really sets up an interesting expectation because Canada cinema lately, wow, it's been on just an incredible run, making huge strides, breaking out national. You've got films like KGF, just pure adrenaline.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the folklore richness of Kantara, it's such a vibrant scene right now, constantly evolving.
You're spot on. And that whole upward swing, it's not just, box office numbers. It's confidence. It's a willingness in the industry to try new things, tell different stories. And what's so fascinating about Daiva is how it arrives right in the middle of all this, but chooses a different path, deliberately. While other big hits, Kantara being a prime example, leaned into those spiritual or mythological themes, Daiva is being described as, like you said, raw, unapologetic commercial entertainment. It consciously decides not to go down the traditional divine route. And that's a risk. That's what makes it stand out.
And that's where the director, Manjunath Jairaj, his vision seems key. He's been quite vocal that it's not about legends, it's about people, their struggles, how they bounce back, their triumphs, but delivered with this energy, this almost cheer-worthy vibe. But I do wonder, in a market where, let's be honest, mythology has often equaled blockbuster success, what's the risk there? Or maybe, what's the potential reward in completely avoiding the divine for a big commercial film like this? Are audiences really ready for that kind of deliberate shift?
That's a really sharp question. It gets to the heart of a big choice, both artistic and commercial. You see, films like Kantara, they masterfully used local folklore, right?
Right.
To connect everywhere. Daiva seems to be aiming for that same connection, but by stripping away the divine completely. It's banking on just raw, relatable human stuff.
That's a big statement. It kind of challenges how we even define epic in this context, doesn't it? Going against some deep narrative habits. The reward, though, if it works, you get a fresh template.
Proof that you don't need myths for universal appeal, that maybe you can find it just as powerfully in everyday struggles. It's a gamble, for sure, but potentially a huge payoff emotionally.
And you really feel that focus on the human side in the story itself. It's set deep in coastal Karnataka, draws on the culture there, which is incredibly vibrant, but again steers clear of any divine intervention. So that title, Daiva, it becomes purely metaphorical, right? It's about that inner fire, the human spirit pushing through. It sounds like it wants to be grounded, but also thrilling, something anyone can connect with because, well, it's about us.
Exactly. And that connection feels strongest, I think, through the main character, Arjun. Vinod Prabhakar is playing him, a rising star. We talked about the human spirit being the Daiva, and his journey sounds like the perfect example. He's not some superpowered hero. Nope. He's just an ordinary guy, facing things we all get. Societal pressure, loss, having to stand up to powerful forces, maybe corrupt ones. His story is about grit, determination, trying to find redemption. That makes him feel very real, very relatable.
Yeah, you can immediately see how you'd get drawn into that. And grounding it all, making it feel even more real, is the setting. Coastal Karnataka isn't just wallpaper here, it's like a character itself. The cinematographer, Anil Kumar, apparently wants every shot to feel alive. The green landscapes, the rugged coast, the local traditions. That level of authenticity just adds so much depth, doesn't it? Makes Arjun's fight feel rooted in a real place.
Absolutely. And that attention to detail, it seems to carry through to the whole cast. Priya Anand is the female lead, Meera. And from what we're hearing, she's not just a love interest. Sounds like a really strong, independent character, a force in the story. And then you've got this great supporting cast. Veterans like Anant Nag, newer talents like Amrutha Iyengar. It feels like they're building a properly lived-in world around these characters. Everyone matters.
Okay, let's shift a bit. Let's talk about the actual experience of watching it. the sensory stuff. Because it's not just the human story getting attention. One thing that keeps coming up is the commitment to just stunning visuals. Anil Kumar, the cinematographer again, bringing that coastal beauty to life, big sweeping shots of the sea, but also intimate village moments. They're promising every single frame will feel alive.
Yeah.
It's a big promise, aiming for real immersion.
And that commitment seems to flow right into the action, too. Ravi Varma, a veteran stunt director, is doing the choreography, and the descriptions are all about it being raw, realistic, really physical. So unlike maybe some fantasy fights, every punch, every struggle in Daiva has a clear purpose. It's tied directly to the stakes for the characters. You can picture it, right? A tense fight in a crowded market or a big battle on a rain-lashed cliff. It's about feeling the impact, the desperation, making the action mean something, not just spectacle.
That integration is so key, isn't it? Action serving the story. That makes all the difference in a commercial film feeling, well, substantial. And adding another layer, a really rich one, is the music. Anirudh Ravichandar is making his Kannada debut here, which is huge news in itself.
No, so
His score is described as both soulful and electrifying, like the actual heartbeat of the film, making you feel every high, every low. It's a powerful combination. Visuals, action, music, all working together.
it really sounds like a carefully crafted package. Technical skill meeting narrative depth. And speaking of the narrative, the screenplay is by a newcomer, Shweta Rao, which is interesting in itself. It's described as tight, engaging, and apparently it skillfully avoids a lot of the usual commercial movie cliches. The dialogue is meant to be accessible, natural. What strikes me here is that even with a debut writer, there's this clear, maybe innovative vision. That choice to sidestep the predictable stuff, it aims to make the film feel fresh, relatable, less like, oh, I've seen this before.
You know, that point about a newcomer writer, Shweta Rao, avoiding cliches, that's actually really fascinating to me. In an industry that often relies on formulas, what does that signal? About taking creative risks? And how hard is it to write dialogue that's accessible to everyone but doesn't just fall back on those tired old tropes? Seems like a massive challenge for any writer, let alone someone new.
Well, it's a huge challenge. And yeah, it signals real confidence, I think. Confidence in the core story, in the characters. A belief that authenticity will connect more than recycled formulas. Writing dialogue like that needs a really sharp ear for how people actually talk. Understanding interaction, not just relying on, stock phrases or overly dramatic lines. It lets you connect straight with the characters' feelings, their reasons, instead of getting tripped up by dialogue that sounds fake. And complementing that, you've got the production design, Shirshida Radappa, recreating that rustic coastal Karnataka feel, adding another layer of just realness to every scene.
I can almost feel that attention to detail. Which makes me think about the actual filming. Making Daiva wasn't easy, apparently. Big challenges. Filming in coastal Karnataka. The weather's unpredictable, the terrain can be tough. It took immense perseverance from the crew. I mean, facing torrential rain one day, scorching heat the next, just to get the shot, capture that authentic pulse of the region. Did you hear anything specific? Like any stories about them battling a sudden monsoon or some crazy logistical issue? That kind of dedication must create some stories.
Well, specific anecdotes are probably being saved.
Mm-hmm.
But the reports definitely stress the sheer effort involved, the grit. And that goes beyond just technical skills, right? It points to a real commitment to quality. From the producer, Lakshmi Gada and Sandalwood Studios, they explicitly called Daiva a big film. Not just budget-wise, but an ambition, artistically. They wanted to make something Karnataka could be proud of. And that level of dedication, pushing through major hurdles, often translates directly onto the screen. You feel that authenticity, that impact.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. What does this actually mean for you, listening, for Indian cinema more broadly? Why does Daiva really matter? Well, in a world just overflowing with content, this film seems to stand out because it's promising entertainment with substance. It talks to the ordinary person, celebrates resilience, community, that human spirit we keep coming back to.
And that's where it gets really significant, I think, in the bigger picture. By deliberately avoiding those mythological tropes, it offers a fresh take on what commercial cinema can be. It's basically saying, hey, powerful stories don't need the divine. You can find epicness, find deep connection in grounded everyday life. And that's not just a small tweak. It's potentially reframing what epic even means right now in films.
And it also clearly reflects this growing ambition, this reach of Kannada cinema. Pan-India releases are becoming standard now. Daiva is set up for that. Dubbed versions planned for Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, reaching way beyond Karnataka. It's part of that exciting trend we've seen with Kantara, with 777 Charlie. Breaking regional barriers, putting unique Kannada stories on the national map even the global map sometimes.
It's interesting, too, because even though it avoids the myths, it still celebrates the culture vibrantly. It naturally weaves in elements of coastal tradition, like Kambala, those intense, muddy buffalo races, unique to the area, and Yakshagana, that colorful folk theater, often based on myths, but used here are probably in a contemporary way. These aren't just tacked on for show. They're part of the story's fabric. Not exoticized. It feels like a genuine love letter to the region's identity, sort of bridging tradition and today.
So yeah, Daiva. It's shaping up to be way more than just another movie. It feels like a powerful celebration of the human spirit, doesn't it? A real showcase for Kannada cinema's strength right now. And maybe a thrilling reminder that the most, well, divine stories often come from the most human places. It sounds like a roller coaster. Raw energy, heartfelt story. Honestly, late 2025 can't come soon enough for me.
And as we wait for it, Daiva definitely leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? In this age of, dazzling CGI and massive cinematic universes, could it be that the most powerful, the most lasting stories actually lie in the authentic struggles, the real triumphs of just regular people? Something really interesting to chew on while we wait for this one.
What a great thought to end on. That's it for this deep dive into what looks like a truly fascinating film. We hope you enjoyed exploring the layers of Daiva with us.